Rico moved through the shadows like a ghost. The night was quiet, but he knew how to stay hidden. His small hands gripped the edge of a broken metal wall. He peeked around the corner. 2 patrol drones floated in the air, scanning the area with red lights. One moved to the left. The other stayed in place. Rico waited. He counted in his head. 5, 4, 3. Now, he darted across the open space and slid under a broken cargo crate. Inside, it smelled like rust and oil. Rico pulled a small device from his pocket. It looked like a toy, but it wasn't. It was a homemade EMP bomb, just enough to knock out the sensors for 2 minutes. He pressed the button and tossed it near the fence. It clicked once, then hissed. A soft blue wave spread through the air. The drones froze. Their lights blinked and went dark. Rico smiled. Too easy. He ran toward the fence, pulled out his wire cutter, and began cutting through the bottom. Sparks danced as the steel gave way. He rolled under and stood up inside the military scrap depot. The depot was huge. Broken ships, robot parts, old plasma, weapons, and rusted tech were everywhere. Rico's eyes sparkled. To most people, this was junk. But to him, it was gold. He had a list in his head: power cells, servo motors, coolant tubes, and one very rare processor. He got to work fast. Rico was only 10 years old, but he moved like someone with experience. He wasn't stealing for fun. He had a goal. In the basement of a half-destroyed building in the slums of New Harmony, he was building something. Something that would change everything. He didn't hear the footsteps. Suddenly, a loud voice echoed through the depot. "Drop the tool and raise your hands." Rico froze. A spotlight hit him in the face. 3 armored officers stepped out from behind a wrecked tank. Their boots hit the ground hard. One held a stun rifle. Another had a scanner. The lead officer walked closer. "Name?" Rico stayed silent. "You're trespassing on military ground." "That's a crime. You're under arrest." "Still," Rico said. "Nothing." The officer sighed. "Suit yourself." They grabbed him, locked his arms behind his back, and scanned his face. Identity confirmed. Rico Valles. Age, 10. Previous warnings for illegal drone hacking and public system tampering. "Looks like your luck just ran out." Rico sat in the back of the armored transport, staring out the window. The city lights of New Harmony flickered in the distance. It was a broken place. Tall towers with cracked glass, streets full of smoke. Children sleeping under signs that no longer lit up. Rico had lived his whole life in Sector 12. No schools. No clean water, no future. Only survival. Now, they were taking him somewhere worse. The vehicle stopped at a tall metal structure. It was round, with blue lights glowing from its edges. Rico looked up. The Interplanetary Youth Enforcement Division, also called IYED. It was not a prison. It was something new. A place for special kids. Kids who were too smart, too dangerous, or too different. Guards in black armor led him through the entrance. He passed security bots, glowing doors, and giant screens showing faces of other troublemakers. They put him in a white room with no corners. The lights were too bright. A woman with cold eyes and a soft voice spoke to him through a screen. "Rico Valles, you are here because you show signs of extreme technological skill combined with antisocial behavior. This is not a punishment. It's a correction." Rico laughed. "You think I need correction?" "You need guidance," she said calmly, "and you'll get it here." Far above Earth, on a hidden alien ship, Captain Jorah watched the video feed of Rico's arrest. She wasn't human. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were silver. She wore armor marked with the symbol of the Trell Coalition, a powerful alien alliance. Her second-in-command stood beside her. "He's young, too wild, but smart," Jorah replied, "and bold. He built an EMP from scrap. He hacked a city grid at 8. Humans like him are rare. very rare. You think he can be useful to us? I think, she said, turning toward the stars, he might be the key. Back on the IYED station, Rico was led to his room. It wasn't a cell. It had a bed, a screen, and shelves, but no windows. No doors that opened without permission. He sat on the bed and looked around. Cameras watched from every corner. Nice cage, he muttered. The wall screen lit up. A face appeared. It was a digital assistant with a soft voice. Welcome. Rico, I am Ari. I will guide your schedule and activities. Rico ignored it. He looked at the shelf, then at the screen, then at the lights. He smiled. Let's see how long it takes to break this place, he whispered. That night, while most kids in the station slept, Rico didn't. He took apart his blanket and found the threads made of conductive fiber. He tested the wall panel and noticed it had a weak signal. Delay. He wasn't scared. He wasn't sorry. He was already planning his next move. Above the planet, Captain Jorah watched the boy on her screen. He doesn't even know he's being tested, she said quietly. Her officer asked, what if he becomes dangerous? Jorah smiled. Then we'll know he's ready. Rico woke up to a soft tone playing from the wall. Good morning, Rico, said the digital voice of Ari. Today's schedule: breakfast, physical training, system theory class, then diagnostics lab. Rico ignored it. He had stayed up late. Again, counting the number of camera blinks and measuring how long the door stayed unlocked when meals were delivered. Every small detail mattered. He sat up on his bed and stretched. His room was still the same: clean, white, and empty. No sharp objects, no wires in reach. But Rico wasn't looking for easy tools. He was studying the system. In the cafeteria, dozens of other kids sat quietly, eating their food. Most wore gray uniforms, just like Rico. Some were older, some younger. But all of them had one thing in common. They were here because someone thought they were dangerous. Rico carried his tray to an empty table and sat alone. As he picked at his food, he noticed a girl watching him from 2 tables away. She had short black hair, pale skin, and strange silver lines around her eyes. She didn't look scared or angry, just curious. Their eyes met. She nodded. Rico nodded back. Later that day, Rico was sent to a large room filled with screens and control panels. It was called the diagnostics lab, but to Rico, it looked like a dream. A tall man in a long coat stood in front of the class. Today, you will learn about drone repair protocols, but only with the simulation software. Do not touch real equipment without permission. The kids sat at their stations. Rico stared at the interface and smiled. Within seconds, he bypassed the training mode and entered the root system. He wasn't interested in fake repairs. He wanted access to the real controls. On his left, the girl from the cafeteria sat quietly. She tapped through the menus faster than anyone else. Rico noticed she was editing code behind the program, advanced work. Very rare. She caught him watching and leaned closer. You're fast, she whispered. But loud. Your code leaves fingerprints. You know how to erase them? Rico asked. I do. I'm Rico. Mina, she replied, eyes still on her screen. That night, back in his room, Rico found a surprise. Someone had left a small folded note inside his meal tray. It read, meet me tomorrow after diagnostics, hallway 3B. Come alone. There was no name, but Rico already knew who sent it. The next day, after class, Rico followed the hallway signs to 3B. The station was always clean and quiet. The walls hummed with energy. Security bots rolled past without noticing him. He found a supply closet with the door slightly open. Inside, Mina was waiting. She held a small device that blocked surveillance for 3 minutes. I know what you're doing, she said. You're studying the system. Planning something. Rico nodded. I don't like cages. Neither do I, she said. They sat on the floor. Mina pulled out a hand-drawn map. I've been building this for a year. The station has blind spots, gaps in the AI patrol paths, hidden access panels. Alone, I couldn't do much, but with your skills, maybe we can escape." Rico smiled. "You've got a team?" "2 others. Quiet ones, trustworthy." Rico looked at the map and nodded. "Let's build something together." In the weeks that followed, the 4 of them worked in secret. Mina, Rico, a silent boy named Dao, and a girl with robotic fingers named Yuna. Each had a skill. Dao could move without making a sound. Yuna could open any lock. Together, they called themselves Unit 0, a name Mina came up with. Rico modified the cleaning bots. He turned one into a flying camera with a mirror shell to avoid detection. Another was turned into a messenger, able to carry small parts between rooms. They used the bots to steal tools from the maintenance bays. Nothing too big. Just small pieces, wires, chips, circuits. Captain Jorah, far above in orbit, continued watching. She saw everything, every hack, every whisper, every test Rico passed. Her second-in-command spoke again. "He's building a crew." "Should we stop him?" "No," Jorah said calmly. "Let him grow. He's not just a rebel, he's a leader." One day, a power fluctuation hit the lower levels of the station. Lights blinked. Cameras glitched. Rico smiled. It wasn't his doing, but it was the chance he needed. That night, Unit 0 gathered in an unused storage room. "This is it," Mina said. "The panel leads to an old air shaft. If we can reach the power grid, we can access the outer shell. From there, a cargo bay." Rico looked at the others. "You ready?" Dao nodded silently. Yuna tightened the straps on her pack. Mina checked the pulse jammer. They were ready. As they crawled through the narrow shaft, every second felt like forever. The metal was cold. The air was thin. But none of them hesitated. They reached the power room. Yuna disabled the lock in seconds. Inside, the room buzzed with energy. Rico stepped forward. He placed a device near the main panel. It was a tracker, not to escape today, but to map the full power route of the station. They were playing the long game, learning everything. As they moved back through the shaft, they didn't notice the small drone watching from a vent. Back in her ship, Captain Jorah smiled. He passed the next phase. Her officer tilted his head. He didn't escape. "No," Jorah said, "but he's becoming more than a prisoner. He's becoming a symbol." In his room, Rico stared at the tracker's data on his hidden screen. The station was a machine. But like all machines, it could be broken. He tapped a message to Mina. "We're close. Just a little more." A soft ping came back. "Then we make history." The lights flickered again in the lower halls of the IYED station. Rico stood inside the diagnostics lab, pretending to follow the coding lesson. On his screen, it looked like he was fixing a virtual drone, but behind the display, he was sending signals to 3 hidden devices across the station. It was time. He tapped his screen twice, then once more. In the janitor bay, a cleaning bot overloaded and started spinning in circles, setting off the emergency alarm. In the kitchen, a small fire broke out in the recycling unit. In the central hall, a drone camera blinked, turned the wrong way, and froze. All over the station, warning sirens echoed through the walls. Guards rushed toward the smoke. AI systems tried to reroute power. Red lights filled the corridors. Amid the chaos, Rico looked at Mina. She gave him a quick nod. Dao and Yuna were already in position. They moved fast. Rico led the group through the air shaft near the diagnostics lab. Mina followed, holding a pack filled with tools. Yuna crawled behind her, carrying 2 pulse jammers. Dao covered the rear, silent as always. Every move was planned. Every second counted. They dropped into the maintenance tunnel below the stations. East wing. No cameras here. Just pipes, wires, and heat. Yuna reached a control panel. She pulled back the metal cover and used her robotic fingers to twist and tap the wires inside. Within seconds, A green light blinked. The wall slid open. Behind. It was a narrow hallway, never shown on the station maps. It was part of an old system forgotten by the designers, but remembered by the code. This way, Rico said. Meanwhile, in the control tower above the station, the officers scrambled to understand what was happening. System overload in 3 sectors, one guard shouted. Fire alert, camera failure, door locks breaking down. The commander stood and stared at the screen. Is this a system failure? No, said another voice. It's coordinated. The commander's eyes narrowed. Someone is escaping. Back in the hidden hallway, Rico reached a metal ladder. At the top was a hatch, the exit point to the cargo bay. They climbed one by one. Dow was first. He opened the hatch slowly and peered through. The bay was dark, filled with crates and sealed containers. A transport ship sat in the corner, its engines off. 2 security drones floated near. The back, scanning the floor. Wait for the next distraction, Rico whispered. Mina checked her screen. In 5 seconds, the hallway lights will burst. That's our moment. Rico took a breath. 5, 4, 3, 2. The lights exploded with a loud pop. Sparks fell from the ceiling. The drones turned and rolled toward the noise. Now. Unit 0 rushed into the bay. Jun. I opened the ship's hatch using a stolen access key. Dow blocked the door behind them with a metal rod. They climbed aboard and ran straight to the pilot's seat. Rico jumped in and connected his tablet. The screen lit up. System locked, said the ship's AI. Rico grinned. Not for long. His fingers moved fast, entering backdoor codes, bypassing firewalls. The engines hummed. Outside. Alarms screamed louder. Doors began closing. Metal shutters dropped. Mina shouted. If we don't leave in 30 seconds, we're stuck. I know. Rico growled. Then dash clicked. The screen flashed green. System unlocked. Welcome, pilot. The engines roared to life. In the control tower. The commander shouted, a ship's powering up, shut it down. Seal the bay. But it was too late. The ship lifted off the ground. It blasted through the bay doors. Just as they began to close, flames lit the sky as Rico and his crew escaped the station. Outside the station, stars filled the black sky. Rico took a breath, his hands still on the controls. We did it, he said softly. Mina let out a laugh. I can't believe it. Una leaned back in her seat. No more cages. Dow nodded once and smiled. They weren't just kids anymore. They were free. Hours later, the ship drifted into deep space. The crew sat in the cargo hold, checking supplies. We have food for 5 days, Mina said. Fuel for maybe 3 jumps. And the system's tracker is disabled. Rico nodded. That gives us time. Time for what? Una asked. Rico looked at them all. To decide who we want to be. They were silent for a moment. Then Mina said, we're not going back, are we? No, Rico said. Not ever. Far away, in orbit above the planet, Captain Jorah watched the escape on her screen. Her second-in-command walked beside her. They broke out, just like you said. Jorah nodded. He's a survivor, but more than that, he's a builder. Should we stop him now? No, she replied. Let him go. Let's see where he runs. The galaxy is watching. She stared at the stars and whispered, he's not just a runaway. He's becoming something else. 3 days later, the crew landed on a dead moon to rest and refuel. They worked together, fixing the ship, collecting resources, and hiding their signal. Rico sat outside under the stars, looking up. For the first time in his life, there were no fences, no guards, no cold white walls. Just space. Open, endless, full of danger and opportunity. He smiled. They'd called him a criminal. They'd locked him away. But now, he was something more. The ship drifted through the darkness of space. Its hull, once clean and silver, was now scratched and patched with different metal plates. It didn't look perfect, but it flew. Inside, Rico sat at the control panel, watching old maps on the screen. He had marked dozens of places, stations, trade routes, hidden docks. He wasn't just running anymore. He was planning something bigger. Behind him, Mina walked in holding a datapad. "We got a signal," she said. "One of the mining colonies is under lockdown. They're asking for help." "Where?" Rico asked. "Laran 4, Deep Space Sector. Small colony. Earth cores blocked their supplies because they refused to pay extra tax." Rico leaned back in his chair. "So they're starving?" Mina nodded. He stared at the map. "We don't have much fuel left, but we're going." The crew landed quietly on Laran 4. Dust covered the colony's buildings. People moved slowly, tired and weak. Rico walked through the main square with Mina, Yuna, and Dao behind him. They carried water packs, ration cubes, and medicine taken from the last abandoned station they had passed. A woman stepped forward, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow. "Who are you?" Rico handed her a water pack. "Friends." She looked at him with confusion. "You're just kids." "No," Mina said. "We're Unit 0. That night, in the underground hall where the colony leaders gathered, Rico sat at a table with them. "You're not part of any group?" One man asked. "No flags, no sides," Rico answered. "We just help where we can. You know they'll come after you for this. Earth Cores doesn't like anyone messing with their plans." Rico leaned forward. "Let them come." Word spread fast. A group of teenagers in a stolen ship helped a dying colony survive. They didn't ask for credits. They didn't follow rules. They just appeared, helped, and vanished again. Soon, whispers began across trade stations and outer colonies. People called the leader Ghostwire, a name born from his hacking skills and sudden appearances. No one knew his real name, just that he was smart, fast, and fearless. On a dark station near a broken moon, Rico and his crew hacked into a black market database. They freed over 100 names from the bounty system: miners, smugglers, and ex-soldiers who were marked for no reason. "They'll come after us for this," Yuna said. Rico nodded. "Then we hit them first." Their next target was a cargo ship carrying illegal weapons to a private army. It was guarded fast and locked with a triple-coded system. Rico didn't care. They approached the ship using a fake ID signal. Dao snuck inside through the cargo chute. Yuna disabled the engine controls. Mina took over the main cameras. In 15 minutes, the ship was theirs. They dropped the weapons into space, turned the ship around, and flew it straight into a colony that had no protection. The people cheered when they saw it. That night, Rico stood on top of a rusted container and spoke to the crowd. "Don't wait for help. Become your own strength. And if you need us, we'll be there." The name Ghostwire became more than a rumor. It became hope. Back in space, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, Captain Jorah met with members of the Trell Council. The room was filled with glowing lights, and the air smelled of energy fields and cooling metal. "He's growing too fast," one counselor said. "He's just a human boy." "No," Jorah replied. "He's more than that now. He's becoming a force." Another counselor frowned. "He's still a criminal in human law." Jorah placed a small holodisc on the table. It showed Rico freeing a trapped group of children from a mining camp. Maybe the law needs to change. Rico and his team continued moving, colony after colony. One station gave them a new engine. Another gave them star maps only smugglers used. They never stayed long. They didn't build bases. They built a reputation. 0 became a name whispered on every planet where the poor lived and the powerful ruled. One day, while traveling through a nebula cloud, they received a strange signal. It was weak, broken, but full of emotion. "Help. This is the ship Glint 7. We're under attack. They took our crew." Rico looked at Mina. "Location?" "Out. Near the Red Veil cluster. That's pirate space." Rico didn't hesitate. "We're going." When they arrived, the scene was worse than expected. The Glint 7 floated dead in space. Lights dim, hull cracked. A pirate ship circled it like a wolf. "We go quiet," Rico said. They powered down most systems and coasted through the gas cloud. Dao and Yuna took the stealth pod and boarded the pirate ship. 15 minutes later, the signal came through. "All clear." Locked up the pirates, freed the crew. Rico smiled. "Bring them back." As the rescued crew returned, one young alien, no older than Rico, looked at him with wide eyes. "You're Ghostwire?" Rico didn't answer. He just nodded. Back on the ship, Mina stared at the stars. "Do you ever wonder where this ends?" Rico joined her. "Sometimes. We're just kids." "Yeah," he said softly. "But sometimes kids do what adults are too afraid to try." The galaxy was watching. In high towers, leaders grew nervous. In backrooms, bounty prices rose. In classrooms, children drew pictures of ships with strange crew logos. Everywhere, people were asking the same question: who is Ghostwire? And more importantly, where will he strike next? The stars outside the ship blinked slowly as Rico sat in the pilot chair, staring at the latest message flashing on the screen. Trell research vessel under attack. Coordinates: 88 kh Vega. Requesting immediate help. Civilian lives at risk. Rico leaned back. The Trell Coalition was an alien alliance, advanced, powerful, and not exactly friendly toward humans. Helping them was risky. But Rico wasn't the type to turn away from someone in trouble. Mina entered the control room with her datapad. That message came on a wide band. "It's real, no trick," Rico nodded. "Prepare for a jump, full speed." Dao and Yuna appeared. A minute later, they didn't ask why. They just got to work. The crew trusted Rico now, not just as a hacker or fighter, but as a leader. Within minutes, the ship jumped into hyperspace, shooting across the stars toward a battle. When they arrived, the scene in space was chaos. A small white and blue science vessel floated helplessly in the center. Flames burned along one side. 3 black pirate ships circled like hunters, firing plasma blasts. The Trell ship had no weapons, just shields, and they were already failing. "Target the pirate ship on the left," Rico ordered. "We distract them first." The crew sprang into action. Mina jammed enemy radar. Dao sent false signals to make it look like more ships were arriving. Yuna used their stolen blaster turret to return fire. Rico took the ship between the Trell vessel and the pirates, absorbing several hits. The pirates turned and fired back, but that was the opening Rico wanted. With a quick spin and sharp dive, the crew dropped an EMP mine between the enemy ships. It exploded in a silent blue wave. 2 pirate ships lost power instantly. The third tried to escape, but Dao hit it with a tracking beacon. "Let them run," Rico said. "We'll deal with them later." On the Trell ship, stunned aliens watched the scene through their cracked windows. Their attackers were gone. A strange, patched-up human ship floated outside. Inside the vessel, a young Trell engineer, Ezen, stared at the screen. "Who are they?" The captain of the Trell crew replied, "I don't know, but they saved us." Rico and his crew docked with the Trell ship. The airlock hissed open. Thick smoke spilled out. Inside, sparks flew and pipes leaked. "Stay close," Rico told his team. They moved quickly, helping wounded Trell researchers. Yuna treated burns with medical spray. Dao carried debris off trapped engineers. Mina guided small children to safety. Rico found Ezen working on a control panel, trying to stop the fire from spreading. "I've got it," Ezen said, not looking up. Rico knelt beside him and pulled out his toolkit. "Try this instead." Ezen looked at him surprised. "You're human. Last time I checked." Together, they fixed the circuit and shut down the spreading fire. After the rescue, the Trell gathered in the main hall. Their captain stepped forward and bowed slightly. "We owe you our lives. You acted with bravery and kindness." Rico replied calmly, "We don't ask for anything. Just make sure your people stay safe." Eason stepped forward. "I've studied hundreds of human files. Most reports said you were violent, unpredictable, but you're not like the others." "I'm not like most people," Rico said with a small smile. Eason hesitated. "If you ever need help, send this signal." He handed Rico a glowing green chip. "It's connected to my frequency." Rico took it. "Thanks." Back on their ship, the crew rested after the long day. Dao sat quietly cleaning his tools. Yuna leaned back in her seat, eyes closed. Mina stood at the window, arms crossed. She turned to Rico. "That was big. Helping aliens if Earth finds out." "I know," he said. "They already want you arrested. This could make you a target for more than just bounty hunters." "I didn't do it for a reward," Rico said, "or for attention." "Then why?" she asked. Rico looked out at the stars. "Because when I was 10, nobody helped me. I won't be that kind of person." Meanwhile, on Earth, the Human Alliance Council was meeting in a secret room deep underground. The walls were made of metal, and the air was thick with pressure. A general stood in front of a screen showing Rico's face. "Ghostwire has now helped 4 colonies, intercepted 2 illegal trade routes, and attacked one of our own cargo fleets." "He's a threat," one counselor asked. "He's just a teenager." "Why are you so worried?" "Because he's becoming a symbol." The screen changed to images of rallies, protests, and graffiti across cities and colonies. Rico's logo, a circle with 3 broken lines, was painted everywhere. He's uniting the poor, making them believe change is possible. If this spreads, we lose control. The room fell silent. "Activate Project Ironwall," the general sighed. "Capture or eliminate Ghostwire." Later that week, Rico stood on the outer deck of his ship, breathing the cold air of space through his suit. Mina joined him. "There's another message. A station needs help with power shortages." Rico nodded, but his face was serious. "What's wrong?" she asked. He handed her a small black device. "We picked up a tracker. Military grade. Someone's trying to find us." Mina's eyes widened. "Earth? Probably." "What do?" "We do? We stay ahead of them," Rico said. "We never stop moving. We help who we can. But we stay ready." She smiled. "You know, people are starting to call you more than a name. You're becoming an idea." "I don't want to be an idea," Rico said. "I just want to make a difference." "You already are." Far across the stars, Captain Jorah sat in her private quarters, reviewing the latest footage from the Trell science vessel. She watched Rico pull Eason from a burning room. She watched him carry wounded children to safety. Her second-in-command entered. "Do we contact him?" "Not yet," Jorah replied. "Let him write his own story, but when the time is right, we'll stand with him." She stared out at the stars. "He may be young, but he's exactly what this galaxy needs." Rico sat inside the ship's dark control room, staring at the blinking red dot on the screen. It wasn't moving anymore. "They found us," he said softly. Mina entered with a data tablet in hand. "Military ship spotted 3 sectors away. It's not broadcasting any name, but its energy signature, ... it's Earth-made." Dao joined them. "They're scanning systems across the outer rim." "Looking for us," Rico stood. "They've activated Project Ironwall." Mina's eyes narrowed. "How do you know?" "I used to study their secret files before I escaped." Ironwall is their emergency protocol. If they think someone is a threat to the system, they don't just arrest, they erase. The room became quiet. Dao asked, "What do we do?" Rico looked at each of them. "We survive. We keep moving, but now we prepare to fight." They flew through asteroid fields and solar flares. They passed abandoned mining worlds and silent moons. For a few days the ship stayed quiet, but Rico knew it couldn't last. One night, While Yuna was monitoring sensors, an alert flashed. Unmarked ship approaching fast. Rico ran to the controls. Shields up. The unmarked ship fired warning. Blasts. They weren't trying to destroy Rico's ship. They were trying to force him to stop. Scan their ID. Rico said. Mina replied, encrypted. But based on weapon layout and heat trail. Earth military. No doubt, they've gotten faster, Dao said. They're tracking our jumps. Rico gritted his teeth. Then we changed the game. They flew into the orbit of a planet called Zera 8, a junk world full of broken ships and metal parts. Huge towers of rusted steel rose from the surface. Smoke and dust made it hard to breathe. But Rico had been here before. He guided the ship between mountains of scrap, hiding in the maze. We land here, he said. They won't find us easily. After landing, Rico, Mina, and Dao left the ship to search for an old contact. Zera 8 wasn't completely empty. It was home to scavengers and outlaws. Hidden markets lived in the shadows of the metal. They found the person they were looking for in a half-broken station, built into a ship's remains. Her name was Zuri, an old tech engineer who once helped Rico escape Earth. She looked up from her workbench, goggles on her forehead. Well, look who's back, the ghost boy himself. I need your help again, Rico said. Zuri frowned. Last time I helped you, I had to move twice and change my name. This time it's bigger, Rico said. They're hunting me. But I won't run anymore. I want to hit back. Zuri sat down. You've changed, kid. You sound like a real leader now. He nodded. We need cloaking tech jammers, maybe a drone swarm. Zuri smiled. I like your style. While they worked on upgrades, the enemy ship searching for them sent a signal to Earth. Inside a large control room, a general stared at the screen. He went to Zera 8. That planet's a maze. Should we send ground teams? Asked one of the officers. No, the general replied. Send Unit Greylight. They don't miss. Back on Zera 8, Rico and his crew worked with Zuri and her helpers. They welded armor to the ship, added hidden compartments, and installed stealth boosters. Dao installed auto turrets on the sides. Yuna updated the ship's AI defenses. Mina upgraded communication with encryption. During a break, Zuri sat with Rico on top of a broken ship. You ever thought of stopping? She asked. Just disappear, live a quiet life? I did, Rico said. For about 2 minutes, she smiled. You're like fire. You don't know how to go out. He looked at the sky. I just want them to leave people alone. I want the kids in Sector 9 to grow up without being afraid. Zuri nodded slowly. Then don't stop. Just be careful. That night, Unit Greylight landed. They were fast, silent, and fully armed. No names, just black armor and cold eyes. 12 of them. Trained to kill without a sound, they moved through the metal fields, tracking footprints and heat signals. But Rico was ready. He'd seen Earth military tactics before. He'd trained himself to think ahead. Using drones, he created false heat trails. Dao set traps. Yuna led the Greylight team into a tunnel filled with magnetic mines. 3 of them were caught in the blast. Mina used a new jammer to cut off their communication. Rico appeared on a high ledge above them. His voice echoed through speakers. You don't belong here. One of the soldiers looked up. You're interfering with Earth security. Surrender now. I'm not scared of Earth anymore, Rico replied. You want to control everyone, but we're done listening. The soldier raised his weapon, but a drone dropped from above and exploded in smoke. By the time the smoke cleared, Rico and his team were gone. Back at their ship, the crew rushed to leave. The upgraded systems helped them slip away undetected. As they reached the edge of Zera 8's orbit, Mina looked at Rico. You know this means war, right? He nodded. Then let them come. Elsewhere, news of Rico's actions spread again. Across colonies and stations, people watched leaked footage of his words, his fight. And his escape. On a mining moon, workers painted his symbol on a wall. On a farming colony, a teacher told students about Rico like a legend. And on Earth, protests grew louder. People shouted in the streets, "Ghostwire gives us hope." The general slammed his fist on the table. "This has gone too far." A scientist nearby said, "Sir, people are following him." Even some inside the system are starting to question. Orders. Then we shut it all down. He pointed to the screen. "Find out where he's going next. No more warnings. Next time we strike ... we end it." Back on the ship, Rico stood at the window, stars reflecting in his eyes. Mina approached. Quietly. "There's another call. A small planet is under blockade. They're out of food." Rico turned to her. "Then we go." Dao entered with a smile. "You sure you want to keep helping everyone?" Rico looked at all of them. "I've made mistakes. I ran from my past. But now, I fight for their future." The stars outside the ship burned softly. Distant and silent. Rico stood near the control panel, watching a message appear on the screen. A small colony on Vexus 3 had sent a distress signal. "Blockade's been up for 6 days, Mina said. Reading the report. "No supplies are getting through. The people are starving. Who's blocking them?" Dao asked. "Earth military. Same division that chased us on 08, Yuna answered. "They've locked the place down, calling it a quarantine zone. But that's not the truth." Rico's jaw tightened. "They're punishing the colony for protesting." Mina looked at him. "We could go somewhere safe, Rico. Start fresh. But if we do this ... it'll be war." Rico didn't flinch. "We helped them." The crew made final upgrades to the ship. Zuri had loaded new shield dampeners before they left Zyra 8. Dao added fast launch escape pods. Yuna finished encrypting their backup drives. Rico sat with them all in the common room. "I won't force anyone to come," he said. "This mission, it might be our last." Yuna nodded. "You gave me a chance when no one did." "I'm not walking away," Dao smiled. "You helped me remember who I really am." "I'm with you." Mina stood. "This crew is my family now. I'll follow you into fire." Rico nodded, his eyes steady. "Then we go to Vexus 3. As they arrived near the planet, the sensors lit up. 5 Earth ships in orbit, Dao said. Armed and scanning everything. "We can't fight all 5, Mina added. "We don't need to," Rico said calmly. "Just one shot to break the wall." They powered down lights and engines, drifting silently through the shadow of a nearby moon. Then, using their cloaking system, they launched a decoy pod toward the blockade. The Earthship spotted the pod and moved toward it. That was their moment. Rico's ship dropped low and fast into the planet's atmosphere, fire streaking across the sky as they broke through the clouds. Below, the colony's buildings were dim and quiet. Streets were empty. Children hid behind windows. They landed behind a ridge. Rico and his team moved quickly. Mina gave out food and supplies. Yuna shared power cells. Dao set up signal towers to break the communications lock. People came out, slowly at first, then in groups. Some cried when they saw the symbol on Rico's jacket, the Ghostwire mark. A young boy stepped forward. "Are you the one from the stories?" Rico knelt beside him. "I used to be a lost kid, but someone gave me a second chance. Now I give it to others." But far above, the Earthship spotted the truth. "They're on the ground," the captain. "Syed, send the signal." Within minutes, a dropship launched toward the planet. Fully armed, carrying Unit Greylight again, this time with backup MECHS. Inside their ship, Rico watched them descend. "They're coming," Mina said. Rico didn't blink. "Then let's give them something to remember." The final stand began on the dusty plains outside the colony walls. Rico, Dao, and Mina took positions on rooftops and barricades. Yuna controlled the drones from the command post. Civilians were hidden underground, safe in shielded shelters at the Earth dropship. landed, and armored troops marched forward. Their voices cold, their orders clear. Surrender the ghost wire. This is your final warning. Rico stepped out from the shadows. You've given people fear for too long, he said. But now they fight back. The first wave began. Bullets flew. Smoke bombs exploded. Drones dived from the sky. Tao fired from behind a wall of steel. Mina used EMPs to disable mechs. Yuna directed small hoverbots to distract the soldiers. Rico charged into the fight with nothing but his shield gauntlet and courage. One by one, the enemy fell back, but they kept coming. Rico was hit in the arm. He winced but kept going. Yuna, he shouted. Disable their dropship. I'm on it. She replied, fingers flying over the screen. She launched a virus into the enemy system. Their ship's lights blinked and died. The engines shut. Down mid-air and crashed behind the hill. Cheers rose from the colony, but then came silence. The final commander of Unit Greylight walked through the smoke, holding a plasma blade. His armor was scorched, but he stood tall. You caused chaos, he said to Rico. You were a street boy. Now you think you're a hero. Rico stepped forward, arm bleeding, but still standing. I don't think I'm a hero. I just think people like you don't get to rule forever. The final battle was short but fierce. Rico dodged, blocked, and struck back. Finally, with a broken drone in hand, he hit the commander's chest panel. Sparks flew, the suit froze, the commander fell. The war was over. Later, the people of Vexus 3 gathered around the Ghostwire crew. One of the elders spoke. You didn't just bring food. You brought hope. Rico looked around. He saw smiling faces, children laughing, old men shaking hands. He had once been a 10-year-old boy in cuffs. Now he stood as a symbol of change. News of their victory spread faster than ever. Other planets began to stand up. Some Earth officers resigned. Even in secret rooms on Earth, people started asking hard questions. They no longer called him a criminal. They called him a rebel, a fighter, a voice, a leader. Back on the ship, patched and dented, the crew flew into the stars once more. Yuna asked, where next? Rico smiled, wherever someone needs us. And the stars stretched out before them.